Is a motion to approve the payment to Dominion Voting Systems, Inc., state vendor, for the programming of the March 10th, 2020 presidential primary election in the amount not to exceed $3,235 and the funds to be allocated from the general fund, clerk's office, election supplies.
Motion. Support.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilwoman Patts, supported by Councilman Johnson. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. This takes us to our open business portion, but we do have two open business items. The first one is a motion to approve the clinical service provider agreement between the City of Taylor and Beaumont Health for Cerlogic testing in the amount not to exceed $9,000.
Motion to approve. Support.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilwoman Cross, supported by Councilwoman Patts. Is there any discussion?
I have some questions for Sheila. They're fairly easy. Will the city receive the results? I think it referenced in the sign off by the employee that the city would receive the results.
We are actually going to opt out of that and just allow the individuals to receive the results.
Okay. Is there a minimum number of testing required to get that rate? I know it's up to 9,000, but I mean if only 100 people show up.
So what I did was I planned for 300 employees who may want to be tested. Right now, just kind of in initial conversations with some departments, I mean, we're already at 150. So I think that's a safe number, but we may not exceed the whole 9,000.
Okay, and then there's no minimum requirement to Beaumont for them?
There is not.
Okay, I didn't see one in there. Will Beaumont or the city be educating employees of their continued risk that there's a lot of controversy whether if you have the antibodies that you still couldn't be reinfected? I hate for someone to assume if they test positive that then they don't have to still exercise, you know, good practices.
We always recommend that individuals seek guidance from their medical providers. We're not medical providers, and the staff that's coming for Beaumont are lab technicians, so they're not really going to be able to provide that level of expertise. But we always ask, and throughout this whole pandemic, we've always said you should talk to your primary care physician because that's the person that will give you the direction that you need.
Okay. Just concerning that, you know, again, I think people will think they're immune to it or something if they test positive. So I'm assuming employees have been asking for this to be done.
Yes, they have. We have a lot of interest in it, and I assume that we will probably get close to that 300 number.
Okay.
Would this be something that would fall under, maybe we could, like, how many people get tested, we could eventually
Yes, we will
ask
certainly
to be
submit
reimbursed?
it for reimbursement.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, if not, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. The next item is motion to approve Beaumont Midwest to provide emergency repair on loader boom for the tub grinder for the amount not to exceed $23,050. Expenditure provided from compost repair and maintenance.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilwoman Winton. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay. Now is if anybody has anything they'd like to discuss. Okay, Councilwoman Patts.
The very first thing is I'd like to send out condolences to the family and friends of Bob Killabrew, who passed away on May 12th. Bob retired as a captain from the Detective Bureau in Taylor in 1983. And he also used to post pictures on our Taylor Historical Society of police officers. And the last picture it just popped up actually in one of our memory things, excuse me, was a picture of a lot of officers, and his comment was, "There's only 2 of us left." So I thought, oh my gosh, so he's going to be missed. Also, my second thing is to the mayor, Heritage Park on June 4th. I'm understanding, I don't know what the logistics are of it or if it's a final, that the Taylor High School seniors, 2020 seniors, are going to have a parade through Heritage Park. Are we going to be helping with that with officers, or, you know, I mean, what is our part in that?
Mr. Chairman? if I may. We did have a Zoom meeting with several members of the Taylor School District yesterday. Chief Portis, myself, Guido, Crystal, and Chief Blair and Carl were all part of the meeting on behalf of the City of Taylor. Yes, we're going to help facilitate. It will be, at this point in time, we anticipate that it will be permitted parking, because there's, I think, around 300 students that are scheduled to graduate, and Heritage Park, practicing social distancing, is not capable of handling that many cars, additional cars for parking. So right now we're working through those details quickly, but it will likely be permitted parking for the guests. There will be some off-site parking that we're working through that people will likely be able to park at nearby churches or the community college and walk over. We're going to do our best to try to live stream it. Chief Blair's working with Jeff Adamishin within the City of Taylor Police Department to even attempt to live stream it via drone. So we're trying to pull a lot of this quickly together, but it is still a work in progress. But it is my understanding that June 4th is a go, and we'll close the park down at approximately 3 o'clock. And I believe the parade is scheduled to begin, Guido, 5:30? Approximately 5 p.m.
That was my question, is the park gonna be closed and, let everybody know not to go there and all that kind of stuff? So.
Yeah, once we get all the final details, but again, we just had the initial meeting yesterday, so.
And I know it's, the kids are gonna be so excited about doing this, and I have a feeling that some of them will probably not be doing the social distancing thing, so that's where I was asking about the police officers. Is somebody gonna be there kind of, within either us sharing with the school district or what, to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, a couple of models that we looked at, we examined the possibility of even mimicking what occurred in Central Park over the weekend, where the city will actually go out and paint like on-deck circles, batter box type circles within the park that is 6 feet apart, so that everybody gets their little spot in the park. We don't have a lot of time to do this, so we're gonna do our best. Most everything, the park is big enough that I believe that if people just follow the rules, everybody will get a front row seat and see their graduate, drive by, so.
And hopefully we'll get information out to the residents to let them know ahead of time, so they're not showing up to do a walk around the the pond or whatever, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, I can't come into the park.
Yeah, we have one more meeting, I think, scheduled for Thursday, is that correct, Guido? And everything's via Zoom, unfortunately, so, we hope to, by the end of the week, have all the details assembled and get some kind of formal announcement out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Real quick, Mayor, while you're up here, we did receive an email earlier during the week. I know we talked about it before, but can you discuss the sidewalk from the VOA to Pardee? Was there discussion or something?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so at one point when we were looking at installing the sidewalk on North Line, we were entertaining the possibility of installing it in that same section by the Volunteers of America Senior Housing Center. And what we learned is that the VOA is in negotiations to complete phase 2 of the project. So with that being said, we withdrew our interest, and we're going to allow them to install the sidewalk, as it will become their responsibility.
Okay.
Also, Mr. Chair, you're going to mention about the Wyandotte Mayor. I would like that to come from you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
if I may, unfortunately, Mayor Peterson passed away after a long battle with Agent Orange-related illnesses. Mayor Peterson gave his career to public service. He was a law enforcement officer prior to becoming a mayor, and we'll miss him dearly. He was a great advocate not only for Wyandotte, but all of downriver, and a good friend of the City of Taylor.
Thank you.
And to add to that, I had the luxury of meeting Mr. Peterson. He was great with, or Mayor Peterson, with Victory Gym. And it just reminds everybody that people make it home from war, but they still carry the battle inside with illnesses and injuries and all that stuff. So may he rest in peace.
He will be missed. You hear the saying, there's big shoes to fill. Those are big shoes to fill. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I just have a couple of items, if I could, while I'm up here. A couple of just updates. A couple of meetings ago, I don't think it was last meeting, may have been, I don't know, these Zoom meetings kind of all start running together, so.
I'm just glad to not have a computer in front of me.
Yeah, we brought to you guys the FAC project for Goddard Road, and I know that it was a difficult decision for everybody as the number was really high. The bids have came in, and on a good note, it came in about 20% lower than expected. So there will be some savings there. We'll bring all that back at a later date, but I just wanted to share with you that it did come in lower than expected. So, and it is still moving forward accordingly, but we will schedule it after the completion of Beech Daly.
And that's from Beech Daly to Telegraph, or?
That is correct,
Okay.
yes. So I think it was roughly about 240,000 less? 230,000 lower than the original anticipated bid, so with the engineering requirements that are included. The second thing is, we've been getting a fair amount of questions related to the recreational marijuana ordinance. Just as a matter of high level, we do not intend to bring it back to this body for even discussion until we can have a true public meeting. That is just a topic that we feel, and I think you all would agree, that it requires true public input and not just trying to get it done for the sake of getting it done, so.
Well, I know the new law totally altered our Article 1, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to do something when things continue to keep, but I agree with you on that.
Well, and even to add to that, there's some recent case law that has since developed that actually works very much in the favor of the city of Taylor. So again, we intend to bring it back for discussion and consideration at some point in time, but it will not be under the conditions where the public can't participate. So just because we have been taking, calls of, when can we apply and when can we do this, and I just want to make it clear that, we'll bring it back, but when you have people in the audience, so. And then the last thing, you all may have received some calls or emails or even social media communications. I want to invite Guido back up.